I don't see any way without technology that we can feed 8 billion people. The hunting and wind technology can barely feed 100 million person on this earth.
Hi, welcome back to our podcast, The Zero Hunger Project. I'm your host, Suman Roy,
And I'm Stacey Neal.
and today we're going to talk about a topic that is in everybody's mind.
And their back pockets.
Exactly, and their hands everywhere. I
hmm
don't have my phone here, but it's everywhere. The human side of AI, designing a future where technology ends hunger. And I don't know the answer, and that's why we have an expert here who's going to talk about it. Stacey, do you want to talk about our guest
I
today?
certainly do. I'm very happy to welcome to the podcast Sam Sammane. He's a serial entrepreneur, an AI leader, and author of The Singularity of Hope. He's a PhD in nanotechnology and a long history of building, scaling, and selling tech driven companies across biotech, diagnostics, and AI. Saman now focuses on the future of human empowered innovation. He's the founder and CEO of TheoSym, a company advancing next generation AI, designed not to replace people, but to enhance human creativity and global equity. Saman advocates for ethical frameworks that ensure that technology serves humanity, particularly in solving systemic challenges like hunger, inequality, and resource scarcity. Sam's work is deeply aligned with the mission of the Zero Hunger Project, leveraging intelligent, scalable systems that redistribute surplus, enhance agricultural efficiency, and empower under-resourced communities through accessible tech. Thank you very much for joining us today, Sam.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be with you guys.
Sam, I got to ask you this question. Is your bio done by AI?
No,
Okay, I'm
it's
just kidding.
edited by AI, different, edited. So the way I write with AI, I write myself, and then I'm French Canadian, so I'm not 100% trustful of my English. I ask AI to improve the English. That's all I do.
That's fantastic.
hmm
That's a great way to use AI. I love it. So, as someone building human centric AI, what role do you believe technology should play in solving food insecurity at scale?
I think it's all related to technology. I always said without the technology, we cannot feed 8 billion people. That's like just a dream. I have seen some people who are advocating for green energy. I think it's an amazing idea, but it's still wishful thinking. Today, unfortunately, to feed 8 billion people, you need all the technology we have and maybe more. Now, I'm not saying this is the optimal way of using technology. I agree that we have, unfortunately, a lot of greed and misuse of technology in this world, and it could be optimized. But it's the only way. I don't see any way without technology that we can feed 8 billion people. The hunting and wind technology can barely feed 100 million person on this earth.
So, what makes a solution then scalable and ethical, especially when it comes to a real world impact like hunger?
In fact, sometimes people use some words to avoid accountability. Like we are talking these days about AI, and I hear a lot of people say, done by AI or an AI program that does that and this. Um, let's say it in the right way. It's a human using AI program. It's a human using AI tool. There is no AI doing anything. So avoiding responsibility by dodging it on a software that someone did, even if the software is extraordinary. I'm not undermining how technology has advanced and how AI is working to help us. It's impressive. Today, you can use AI to analyze an amount of data just compared to 2 years ago that is practically a million times more. We started by 4,000 token or 2,000 word per processing. Last month, I heard about Meta releasing 10 million token. That means an amount of 5 million words, one shot in one prompt. That's huge. That's like the next level. So by this amount of analysis, there is no decision by AI. Still human decision. So dodging responsibility is dangerous. And we still, when we say ethical. I like a lot when people use ethical because, again, it's a way of giving themselves authority. I heard the president of big technology companies saying, we are doing AI ethically. And the question for him, how? By believing you? Because practically that's what they are doing. So we don't have ethical standard. I'm against, if you want, supervision of technology. I believe that will create corruption and will stop advancement. But I am for giving a standard and putting labels. So you should have somehow human supervision for technology and standards. So you tell people, yes, this is has been approved by this ethical community. This is has been approved by this ethical governmental organization. It's like the label organic that we use sometimes for food or free trade. So it should be like this, but not the president of the AI company telling us we are doing ethically, trust us, we are good people. Or people dodging responsibility done by AI. No, it's not. It's done by a human using AI tools.
Fair. Okay. So let me refine my next question then. Using human-centric AI, how do we solve the problem of hunger? How do we use AI to solve these huge social problems?
In fact, AI will create before solve social problems. That's unfortunately because today it will save a lot of repetitive tasks. It will save a lot of jobs. I say in my book, the problem that not AI has become human-like, the problem we human, we have behaving like machine in the last 50 years. So we are giving people robotic, repetitive jobs. And now suddenly that we have machine and the cost will drop, we are going to take it away. But that doesn't mean we'll not have a new kind of jobs. And here come the new, let's call it paradigm of thinking, working that we need to define. Unfortunately, it's not defined yet. I argue some ideas in my book, but we need to define it as a humanity. And then how this new paradigm will solve problems. It will solve problems because suddenly all this mundane and easy and not, let's call it creatively important jobs will disappear. So we'll have more and more human available using AI itself to amplify their intelligence and try to solve problems. So robotism is coming. Robots are everywhere. And people, when they think of robots, most of the time they think of human-shaped robots. But talking about food, um, all the equipment that we have to cultivate food, from tractors to I don't know, pesticide detectors to pesticide analyzers to irrigation, all of that, it will become robotic in the meaning it's thinking autonomously, it's working autonomously, it's behaving in the field autonomously. So this is coming. That means you will need less and less human intervention, but also you can optimize more and more. And it started like 30 years ago, that what used to call automation, right? Now it will be adding another level of intelligence from the machine, from AI, to make it more and more efficient. In terms of solving the problems, exclusivity for everyone, machine will not give us new ideas. It will amplify our intelligence as a human. So you will have AI that you can think with. And thinking with AI, one is very fun and addictive at the same time. So fun because you can have all the information at your disposal in a fraction of a second, and you ask the questions. And the good way of using AI is not use it as Google. It's not just search engine. You ask, it give you information, and you are happy. No, it will give you analysis. So you start. Don't trust the machine from the first round. Put your let's call it gut feeling, put your values, ethics into that. And if you don't like the answer, challenge the machine. The machine at the end is programmed to get you information according to your question. More your question is refined and good, more you got better information. It's not like organized to give you a search. Here, this is what I found. No. So it could have hidden information from you, that it will give it to you only if you ask the right question. And by doing this interaction, or I call it the feedback loop with AI, it become more and more interesting. I tell people that the score, we can calculate a score, I call it a human AI augmentation score of how uh, smart our interaction with AI. And if you do one shot, like one question, one answer, I will tell you it's zero. We didn't do anything. You are practically lazy. You are entering in the field that I call brain obesity. So it's the equivalent of industrial revolution, people not using their muscles anymore. We are not using any brain if we use one interaction. So what we should we do? We should analyze the answer, challenge it, and do another and a third and a fourth round. And each time refine and challenge and use our intuition in terms of I call educated guess, because intuition without knowledge is just, I have a feeling it's true. But with knowledge, it becomes an educated guess, and it's a very powerful algorithm that we didn't figure it out. So by doing this feedback loop, what happens? AI learns more about the problem. But we human, during this process, we are gathering wisdom, which means we are getting smarter in a very fun and interactive way. And after maybe 50 exchange in one session about an idea, you could have a result that you will be getting. People tell you, did you do it with AI? There is nothing wrong by amplifying your intelligence. It's like someone telling you, I don't know, 100 years ago, did you get it by reading books? Or 20 years ago, did you get it by Googling it? There is nothing wrong by using all the tools that we have to amplify our intelligence. And after 50 exchange, I can guarantee you the result we have is worth month on month of research and thinking. So, this is how we will solve the humanity problem, not by waiting that the machine will give us a solution. Sorry, the machine is clueless and the human who will solve their own problem.
So, Sam, you talked about the repetitive jobs going away and a different kind of jobs coming in. What do you say when you hear a lot of global leaders nowadays, many of them, are talking about let's bring back manufacturing jobs, let's bring back the jobs that was 40 years ago? What do you say to that? Is that the right direction that the world is going in, or are we need to look for?
There is two topics here, and I will tell you. The first topic is the idea of bringing manufacturing back, and it's a good idea. And there is the second thing, how we implement it. So I will say bringing back manufacturing locally, it's a great idea because we'll save in terms of transportation, and that's better for the planet, more economy for us. Now, exclusivity for everyone, that will not bring jobs because more and more it's robotic. And some leaders figured that out, said, why I will pay China or I'll pay, I don't know, Colombia money where most or 90% of the job will be robotic. So I will put the robot near me and I will do the production near me and I will save in terms of transportation and in terms also of cost of energy, the logistic itself of manufacturing. So misleading people and using populism to manipulate the people, this is typical with politicians. And this is unfortunately what's going on. They are trying to gain ground and exclusivity. When that happen, we will not have manufacturing job anymore. There will be some, of course, like supervision, but they are not different from what we have right now to supervise overseas manufacturing. But instead of supervising people who are paid badly in overseas country will supervise robot locally, but it's the same kind of jobs, will not create manufacturing jobs. It's not. The other thing that I told you how it's done. So how it's done, it's very risky because it's done in a way when I see a lot of confrontation, when I see dismantling of the 50 years pact of international trade. And maybe international trade was not the best thing ever, but it has justified until now the absence of a conflict between superpowers because we are interdependent. So bringing back manufacturing locally and ending somehow global trade, I'm very worried about peace and conflict between superpowers. Of course, conflict between the local powers and global and let's call it regional powers, unfortunately never stopped, and people use that unfortunately to get enriched and everything. But superpower, we had a golden era since World War II. We didn't have super war. And one of the major reasons, in my opinion, was interdependence. So if I attack you, I'm counting on you on 50% of my life somehow, and you are counting on me in 50% of my life. Isolation and ignoring this fact by doing a very, let's call it, unprepared trade wars between the countries is crazy. And I'm afraid of that. And this is worrying me much more than people losing some jobs or the transitional era until we move from robotic jobs to human again job, because that's what I think will happen. We will figure it out slowly, but it will happen. Hopefully, the impact will be minimum. Again, it depends on our leaders. I don't see them as the smartest people, unfortunately, with respect to everyone. And sometimes they are smart, but they are not open. Like when they tell you, let's bring manufacturing back, it's just because all they know it will become robotic, and it does not make sense. So for them to have it in China or in India, but they are doing it in a rush in a way that will harm everyone. It will harm China and India as much as it will harm the United States and Europe. So I'm very scared. I think this is something not well talking about. International peace equal international trade. Destroying international trade, we are putting at risk international peace.
So, if we go back to the concept of hunger solutions, coming up with hunger solutions, then in light of that, what policy or partnership or infrastructure shift would, in your mind, accelerate tech based hunger solutions globally? Like, what do you think the solution is?
First of all, hunger is related to two things. First of all, distribution, because we know there is enough, let's call it resources and capacity to feed everyone. But we don't have what we call fair distribution. That means some countries has less income than others, has less opportunities than others. I will not talk about only money, because the terms that a poor country exists, I think slowly will disappear because we are more and more integrated in terms of technology and in terms of remote work. And that's amazing. I will talk about my own experience. In my own experience, we have 50 employees around the globe. They are all remote. In fact, only 20% of our employees are local in the US and Canada. So why? First, the cost, I will not lie. But second thing, because they have different mentality and different competence. So to tackle poverty, the main, I think, way to do it is to globalize jobs. So if everyone have access to quality jobs using technology, that will help us save um, humanity. That will make us be able to offer jobs everywhere, all kind of jobs, and also offer education. Today, you cannot end poverty without a minimum of education. Like ignorance and poverty and hunger, they are the best friend. So to break this, let's call it medieval friendship, we need people to be more educated and more connected to the other world. So if you have a country like, I don't know, Bangladesh, uh, we are hiring more and more from them. In fact, we have more and more capacity to hire from there right now because of technology. And guess what? In terms of salary, we are saving in the beginning, but when the people become more and more competent and they are connected on the globe, if you don't give them what they deserve financially, they find another job with someone who will. So, in terms even of dropping the cost, I think we have a phenomenon now where everything is racing toward equilibrium, and even poor country or less developed country will have access to high salary. Everything is relative. I'm not talking US and Canada level. but I can give concrete example. There are people who started with some company I know at $2 the hour, but because they are good and hardworking, they reached the $12 the hour. They reached a point because if you don't want to pay me the $12 the hour, I'm so competent, I can go and offer my service as a freelancer through platform like Fiverr and Upwork, and also find another person who appreciate my knowledge, my capacity. So one major element in solving, let's call it inequality, so solving hunger, is globalization of jobs.
Interesting.
That's fantastic. So, what is that one idea that you might want to share with us that will probably help solve world hunger at some point?
I don't know. There is a lot of ideas, but let me start by, in terms of AI, I think we can create, and someone need to do it quickly, a non, let's call it profitable organization that help people get free education using the new technology of AI. Because people didn't try it, and I advise people to try it. AI is one of the best tools to get monitoring and learning something new. You can ask AI to teach you stuff, and it's amazing how good it is. Independently, it can do for you stuff as well, but in terms of education. So I think this is a concrete idea that it is targeted to poor people, and AI these days, most of AIs are free. There is still a problem in accessing the internet in poor country. I have seen that.
That's predicated on the fact that they have access to the internet.
Unfortunately, still, but we have also satellite internet that's starting everywhere. I think it's still we need effort from rich countries to sponsor this kind of initiative, but this is something new by spreading AI-based education. It's not remote education because unfortunately, remote education you still need to pay people. But let's call it AI-based education. That means AI is teaching people skills without human intervention. That could be a game changer that will improve the quality of life of a lot of people in poor country and will help us tackle the problem of hunger. That is, in my opinion, too much related to inequality because in terms of source and resources and agriculture, I think we have enough of the planet.
So,
True.
just to go back then to the point that you were making earlier about ethics and who is coming up with these. I mean, I know it's human-centric AI, so who is the one that's coming up with these education platforms? Who's making the content of these?
That's another problem. The bias of AI is a problem that we'll never solve. So we need to accept that AI is a software and software has a manufacturer, and the manufacturer, unfortunately, they have human bias. Okay. So if the AI comes from Meta, it's not the same thing if it comes from Grok AI, if you want to call it. Each AI provider has his own agenda and their own, let's call it training set training for data for the AI. And the solution is mix and match. Like if you are a human being, you don't consume these days one source of media. You don't go and listen to Fox only or to MSNBC only. You know, they are partisan and each one give you just one vision. It's the truth. They give you what they think is true. Sometimes even it's funny how they justify stupid decision by their respective leaders. So the same thing with AI. I'm sorry, it's not different. We are going there. 2 years ago, when we started by AI, I heard a lot of people thought that AI is an independent referee, and it's a software, so it will give you an independent opinion. That's not true, unfortunately. It's just a software that goes through data, organize it in a very smart way, and then cast an illusion of intelligence. So don't count on it as an independent source. The solution is having multiple AI, and it becomes very, very easy these days. Like it should be a question of choice in the future. Like in the past, it was which newspaper you read, now which social media you follow.
So then there's the element of the democratization of AI, first of all. And also, do you think that there should be some kind of a governing body that is casting an eye on all of this to make sure that we're following, I don't know, global protocols of some kind? I mean, is this a governable thing?
I'm afraid of that. Okay. I like the idea of having labels, having standards. So you can, for example, we have that in movies. You have PG-13, you have under 18, but censorship is very dangerous. And telling people no and yes, very, very dangerous because nobody has the monopoly of truth. We don't know. And people are biased. And sometimes people are biased without being evil. You know, it's not related to being evil or wrong. It's related to having a belief and you are defending your own belief. And that's the problem. So, yes, to put labels, yes, to put standard. That doesn't mean we'll ask someone to censor or tell us it's good and
That
bad.
wasn't the question. It was more sort of, do we all have guidelines we can follow? Is there, like, as you say, some
The PG
standard,
13.
this standards that we can all follow to make sure that everybody's arrows are sort of pointed in the same direction?
Yeah, but that's what I meant by standard. I'll be more specific. In pharmaceutical, for example, we have what we call GMP standard, good manufacturing practice. So it's a guide. If you follow it, we can give you the label. You have also the ISO standard, International Standard Organization, tells you if you do this, and that, then we can give you a number. Could be 9,000, could be 14,000. There is a lot of standard. So I am for creating a standard for all kind of AI, let's call it technologies, from the large language models to environment itself that use AI to AI apps and give them numbers. And then the users know if there is like a standard followed here, that means these technology has developed with a certain guidance.
Exactly.
And therefore, if they're not, then if they're not following the standard, then that's also known.
We know, but it's not allowed. Today, let me go back to the example of pharma. You have GMP manufacturer, you have non-GMP manufacturer. And guess what? People buy from both. They are the judge. For example, some supplement, they are not manufactured according to GMP standard, but they are food supplement, and still people consume them and have result out of that. So, and why I am for that not having a full supervision, because unfortunately, with time, it become a way to filter the new guy. You know, like I am poor guy, I'm developing a new AI tools. If I cannot like afford to get it licensed by the United States of America because it needs a lot of regulation and test, I will never be able to deliver my tool to the public. And that means we will have big company and monopoly. But if there is only a standard and I can release it, even if it doesn't qualify, and then people like it, then later I will be maybe getting it standardized or approved.
Absolutely fair.
Yeah.
So, you want to ask your question? Your favorite
My
question?
favorite question that I always ask everybody is, what is the question that people aren't asking you about this? What is the one thing that you come away from these interviews and you think, oh gosh, I wish I somebody had asked me about this? Is there something that people aren't talking about with AI?
There is a lot. There is a lot, but maybe I said it before you ask it. It's about the right question, and the right question: how we ensure that the people who are developing AI are somehow good people. They are not evil. You know, because unfortunately, I heard big technology company leaders who want to replace people, who are tired of having people working and they want to replace them with robots. And this is, in my opinion, evil, and they need to be exposed. That's, in my opinion, something we need to tackle more and more in terms of AI, and it's affecting all of us because if people have already, let's call it an agenda to replace us with AI, even if it's lower quality and bad, that's dangerous, and they need to be somehow uh, let's call it the term shown. We need to talk about that. Not everyone is nice and good. That doesn't mean we need to put them in jail, but at least people can know that they are doing tools with that perspective. So maybe we don't use their tools. We use the good people too.
Fair enough.
Now, this is so enlightening. Thank you so much, Sam, for your time and having this conversation. It means a lot to us and a lot to our visitors and viewers on learning a little more about AI. There's so much that I could unpack.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sam,
Appreciate it.
you have a book. Uh, do you want to tell us a quick 10-second pitch on your book and what it is about and what's the name?
I have two, in fact. I have just released another one. So I have the first book is The Singularity of Hope. It's a nonfiction. It's a book about uh, how we will have what we call the singularity. That means an age of abundance and innovation. Usually people think that that will happen by AI outsmarting the human. I'm arguing we'll have it, that's why I call the of hope, by having super intelligent human who will be using AI. So the age of singularity is coming when we have an innovation every day, maybe every hour, something unprecedented. But it will not happen because the machine is smart. It's because us will become much more smarter. And my second book just came in. It's a novel called The Republic of Mars. It's about Mars colony in 2081. It's a murder mystery where the president of the colony, Edward Moss, is killed. So it's something about, again, a reflection about humanity future, but this time as a novel.
Nice. That's excellent.
I'm looking forward to
Congratulations.
getting my
That's
hands
great.
on that.
Hmm.
So thank you very much once again,
Thanks so
and
much.
thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Wow, there is so much to unpack. AI is such a topic.
I mean, I've only just started using AI, and
No, you didn't.
it's
How long have you had your phone? So
well, I
no,
did
you haven't.
actively using
Actively,
AI.
okay,
Let me
that's a
say
better
that.
term.
Sorry, specifically
Yeah,
actively using AI, and it's you get kind of sucked into it. Like it's a
totally.
real it kind of bends your brain a little bit, and I really liked what he said about keeping in mind that it's not the computer that's making these decisions, that it's human driven. There are people behind the screens, behind the keyboards that are, sort of building these systems and driving them.
Absolutely. And I think that is something that we often forget. One of the things, and the first question I asked him was, is your bio done by AI?
Right.
And I think that itself is the problem because AI do not do it.
Hmm.
AI is trained by humans to do something that other humans want.
And I think there's a stigma around AI, to be honest,
Totally.
particularly my generation who grew up with movies like iRobot and, anything where the robots are taking over, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there's a legitimate fear in that. And I think there's space for that type of thing to happen. And that's why I was so interested to hear him talk about having a standards board and the ethics around all of that, because this is really something where things could go sideways pretty quick.
And I think that is very important. And I also think that, especially talking about Canada, in the last little while, Canadian government has invested millions of dollars
Yeah.
into figuring out the safety around AI,
Yeah.
which is very important. And I think global countries needs to figure this out as more of a united body
Hmm.
and not working because once again, when we go to the internet, it is one world.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that was really interesting to hear from Sam. Is somebody who is working in AI, dealing with AI on a daily basis,
Hmm.
how he feels that there is a need for a third party supervision
Hmm.
and third party certification is lack of better words if I
Right.
use that
Yeah.
for common people like you and me.
Yeah. And how it's not just about robots that are in human form, which is what everybody's like incredibly creeped out by, but that there is a lot of automation that can be done. And in some regards, it will remove the exploitation that happens in a lot of, sort of the global south, people who, or even people who come from down south up north to pick seasonally and all of those types of
Mhm.
things. If those things can be mechanized, then I mean, the problem is that then those people now don't have jobs. But as he said, the jobs will come
It's a different
elsewhere.
kind of job,
Yeah.
right? So that's something. The other thing is that I really got out of this is machines will not give us new ideas.
No.
Humans. So there will always a need for humans.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what. And the question I asked about manufacturing and bring back the manufacturing jobs, which is fascinating because it is the manufacturing jobs will not come back.
Right.
The manufacturing will come back and
Yeah.
make a big difference.
Yeah.
So
So
there's
like
difference.
and where's the line of exploitation?
And You know what? At the end of the day, I think when people like to exploit, when they start exploiting robots, they'll stop exploiting humans because they
Right.
don't have a choice.
Right.
And the question is, the key will be which country, which organization will think ahead
Mhm.
and actually get the population trained
Right.
in the jobs of tomorrow
Yeah.
and not jobs of 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that is the success story right there.
Yeah. And also just from having these conversations, learning that, what they're trying to do is raise the global pay scale for everyone um, up to levels that are usable for most people, where that will remove exploitation in and of
Mhm.
itself. And then to be able to tap into this type of technology, being paid a proper wage. I mean, that's the hope, right?
Yes, 100%. But what concerns me, and I'm going to be a little negative here, what really concerns me is people are not, and I'm saying people in general, but
Mhm.
also some governments, some leaders,
Mhm.
they are not really understanding what the next generation job looks like.
Well, I don't think anybody's paying attention to that at all.
No, a handful of people are, but not
Sure.
not majorly.
Yeah.
So there will be a time when there will be a change, but people will not be ready for it.
Right.
So my concern and my worry is, will that bring food insecurity, poverty even deeper before it comes back? Like, will there be a bell curve? And that scares me,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. If we see ahead and we actually train to avoid that curve down, then that's a different story.
Well, I think also that we're trying to have people who grew up in generations that were not completely consumed by technology are trying to make decisions for
100%.
people who are growing up in technology. That my son knows more about my iPad than I do, and he's 7 and I'm 53.
Yeah,
So, I think it's one of those things that once you grow up in that type of environment, it's not going to be that much of a
100%.
disconnect.
And that is why, in a lot of our conversations already, we have heard how important it is to engage the youth
Yeah, I mean, it's
and the
we're in
future.
big trouble if we don't do that
Exactly.
on all the fronts.
In a meaningful way,
Of course.
not just saying that, oh, yes, we have a youth council.
No,
That
no.
means nothing unless the
No.
youth council is engaged.
Yes, and that they get funded and subsidized and supported and all of the things, because
100%.
they the things that these kids are talking about, when you go on social media and you realize that generation, what they're talking about, the technology they're using, the skills and abilities that they have, are the tools that we are going to need as a civilization to not only move us forward, but fix up a lot of the problems we created
Exactly.
because we didn't have that technology, maybe.
And I'm going to challenge anybody listening to this conversation, especially the youth who is listening or watching us. There is certainly, we hear a lot of white noise around youth empowerment, but not much action. And we deserve better. You deserve better. Our future generation deserve better. So I would really challenge you here to have these strong conversations with your elected officials, your future elected officials, even your managers, your professors, whoever you can, the people of power, and have these meaningful conversations into having them think about how meaningfully they can empower the youth. So that's my call to you. Please, please, please have these conversations, because you are the one who is our future and you will make a difference.
And I think also that there's a massive opportunity here moving forward in the tech space to marry technology with the problems that we're facing as a global population. There are massive opportunities for innovation and entrepreneurship and creating whole sectors of jobs that don't exist yet. Well, you'll be able to have a very nice life
Exactly.
and also help people at the same time. It's social
100%.
justice and using
100%.
technology for social justice. I think it's
100%.
awesome.
So we're going to wrap up now, but I just wanted to give a plug that
Suman wrote a book.
I did. And if you want to know more about world hunger and some great solutions globally, please look us. We are in every bookstore online that you can find. It's called the Zero Hunger Project, same as the podcast. And also, please, if you like what you heard, subscribe to our podcast. Let us know what you feel. Give us
Ask
a
us
feedback.
questions.
Ask us questions. And together, we will find solution to global hunger.